Hi, my name is Mr. Canny, and I'm one of the Crossroads teachers here to talk to you today about Crossroads, the sixth grade option for integrated learning.
And I'm Mr. Rendelich. Together, Mr. Candy and I created the Crossroads program back in 2003, so we've been at this a long time. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty and tell you a little bit more about the Crossroads program. First of all, here on this slide, you can see the photos of our last two Crossroads groups. It's pretty obvious which one is which. So what is Crossroads? Well, Crossroads is a program that runs the entire school year. So if you're in Crossroads, you will be with us all year long. And within Crossroads, we cover the same social studies, science, and language arts content that would be covered in the rest of the sixth grade, except when we cover it, we always connect it to our theme, which is culture.
Crossroads works with 40 incoming sixth graders being selected randomly by a lottery. 4 of the 9 class periods are spent in the Crossroads room. We don't separate language arts, social studies, and science. Instead, we center our studies on culture and community. The other 5 periods are for math, advisory, encore. Everything other sixth graders have is what you will have as well.
So what exactly do we learn in Crossroads? Well, we don't have time to tell you everything or else we'd be here all day. But just to reiterate, we learn all of the language arts, science, and social studies skills and content that are expected of all the other sixth graders, but we do so through the study of 4 levels of culture. In September, we begin the year by studying our culture of family. We look at the cultures of our own families, as well as the cultures of some fictional families in a novel that we read. From October through November, we examine culture of community. We have a big science project through which we do that, as well as some novels where we examine different communities. Getting into culture of nation, which we do from November through December, we look at initially the founding values of our culture as seen through some historical documents. And then we move on to a big unit on immigration that includes some interviews with immigrants, as well as some novels that we read that depict the immigrant experience. And then lastly, of course, beginning in January all the way through June, we examine various cultures throughout the world. And we start with the Americas and we move through each of the continents, ending up with Asia.
Let's talk a little bit about how we learn at Crossroads. Students work individually and cooperatively, but we do put an emphasis on that collaborative learning, that cooperative learning for a variety of science and social studies topics, lit circles, all relating to culture. We have a greater emphasis on collaboration, but individual aspects are important too. So we always have an individual requirement whenever we're in a cooperative situation. That might be a log response, it might be a written assignment, it might be keeping notes in a note-taking document under a certain color that would represent you. So we know that everybody's participating fully in a project. Because of this, we actually have fewer tests and quizzes. Again, we put a greater emphasis on written production as well as presentations and work within a group.
One of the things that makes Crossroads and all the integrated programs at Radnor Middle School unique are the fact that there are no letter grades. So a lot of times people wonder, well, how in the world will a student or their parent know how they're doing in class? So first of all, it's important to note that every single thing you do, with very few exceptions, is evaluated closely through rubrics. So what we like about rubrics is they show you what you're doing well, and they also highlight some areas where you could grow, which is true of just about everybody in every situation. Then you use those rubrics and other things that are evaluated, some quizzes and so forth, to do a self-assessment of your own work. You do about 6 of those per year. Students, you will do all of that. The whole self-assessment, you'll complete it, but then you'll hand it over to your teachers who will respond to you and comment, either sometimes agreeing and disagreeing with you. And then finally, once that's finalized, we send it home to parents so that they can see it and comment on it and have a conversation with you about what you wrote. Another way that students will know how they're doing is, and their parents, is through the student-led parent conference that we do in November. So that's a parent conference that the teachers do not lead, but the students lead it. And then midway through the year, there is a more traditional parent-teacher conference without students present. And then at the end of the year, there is a lengthy evaluation that the teachers will do for each student. And it's a long document with rubrics and comments throughout it. And finally, twice per year, at midway point and at the end of the year, we will have evening expositions where students will present what they'd learned over that semester to their parents and all the parents.
About entering Crossroads often have some common concerns. And one of those concerns is they won't get to see friends that aren't in Crossroads. And we found this not to be true because really the majority of time sixth graders get to socialize with people that are outside of their classroom is during lunch, and if they have special classes like band, orchestra, chorus, or during intramurals or after school on a walk into Wayne. While students are in classes, there's very little time for social interaction. And they might say, "Oh, well, I'll see my friends in the hallway," but Crossroads doesn't go into the hallways. That's not really true either. There's only about 2 minutes passing time between classes, often just within the same pod. And your best friend could be on the same team as you, and you would see them no more than you would if you were in Crossroads and they were on another team, because you could be in different classes within that same team. The next issue is very similar. It's that they won't change classes. And it's true, we don't change for social studies, science, and language arts. We do change for math. So really, it's only a couple different times that you're not out in that hallway for that change. Most of the time, you're in the hallway with the kids as they're changing. But frankly, again, there's only about 2 to 3 minutes between classes. So it's not like there's a lot of time to do anything. So you do get up, you do move around. There is one double block of Crossroads in the morning, periods 2, 3, and we do try to put a break in there so that people have a chance to kind of regroup. The last one is that you have less of a chance getting into watershed soundings and gateways, and that's just not correct. We have equal chances to get into all three programs. It's all run the same way. Lottery system, you indicate interest, your name is chosen, and if your name is chosen, you get a chance to decide if you want to be part of those programs. Being in Crossroads does not affect it in any way.
So next we want to take a look at the schedule that you would follow in Crossroads and compare that with a regular sixth grade team schedule. So on the left, you see the proposed Crossroads schedule for next year. You're going to begin the day with advisory like all the other sixth graders, and that's when chorus, band, orchestra, and some other support classes occur. Then you go to your period 1 encore class where you will mix with all the other sixth graders. So usually there are only a few at most Crossroads students in any class that you're in. It will primarily be students from the red, blue, and yellow teams. Moving from there, you can see Crossroads is going to be together for periods 2 and 3. And as an example, the other sixth grade teams might be having a specific science class with one teacher and a specific social studies class with another teacher during those periods 2 and 3. They could also be having math or language arts in those periods, depending on their individual schedule. From there, you go on to lunch, where you eat with all the other sixth graders, at least in a normal year, mixing up with friends, etc. Then after that, you go back to encore, perhaps one of those classes listed. And then period 6 is Crossroads again, whereas on the regular team, it would be a specific core class like science, social studies, language arts, or math. And then period 7 is our math. It might also be the regular sixth grade math. Students in Crossroads will go to a variety of different math classes depending on where they're placed. And then at the end of the day, period 8, 3 out of every 4 days, it's another Crossroads period. 1 out of every 4 days, it is a math period. At the end of the day, we pack up. So that's the schedule.
lot of times we get questions about who is compatible with Crossroads, what type of student is a best fit for Crossroads. And I don't know if there's really a specific answer to what type of student is best for Crossroads. We really truthfully believe that any student can be successful in Crossroads. There's very few exceptions of things that could get in the way of that. But we do have this kind of list here to give some guidance as to what might be helpful to students who are thinking about Crossroads. And the first one is that you work well or want to learn to work well within groups, or even get better at working with groups. We do a lot of collaborative learning in Crossroads, so that whole group dynamic is a very important aspect of it. And that's sometimes a difficult thing to negotiate for students. So if somebody is very well suited to that, or wants to do a little bit better at it, Crossroads could be a good place. Like to dig deeper, explore a little bit more. We have more time together in the room, which gives us the freedom to not have to stop things at 40 minutes to switch to another class. So students can keep working on a topic and really get into that topic a little bit more. That also leads to the independence and choice in your learning. Not that you can choose, oh, today I think I want to learn about this. That's not how it works. But if you're in a group and you're working on a specific topic with that group, let's say you're looking at Irish immigration, and you are really interested in how the Irish contributed to the labor force. Well, you can negotiate with your group and say, that's the part I want to research, and then I'll teach you about that. So it gives you some chances to decide what you're going to learn within a larger thing that's already been assigned. If you prefer to demonstrate your learning through projects, presentations, written assignments, as opposed to studying and then taking a quiz, or doing a couple chapters and then having a test on those chapters. We do a lot more of our assessment through how well you present information, how well you share information in a written format, or by speaking to the class. You should have some interest, I would think, in how you fit into community and culture. That's our topic, that's our theme. Everything we do, we try to read back to that theme. So if that's a theme that's not of great interest to you, it might end up being kind of a long year. But we really do believe that most people have at least some interest in how they fit into their community and how cultures interact. A big one is, how are you motivated to do well? If you are looking for an A or a B as your only motivation for doing well, that's not going to happen here. And that's sometimes a difficult thing for students to overcome. We assess your work. You get a lot of feedback. We'll let you know how you're doing in a lot of different categories, but you're never going to get an A, B, C, D, or F. So if a fear of getting a D or a C or an F is all that motivates you, or the hope for an A or a B is what motivates you, that motivation is going to be removed. So you're going to have to be more intrinsically motivated by wanting to always improve, right? And again, Crossroads is a course for all ability levels. One doesn't have to be a particular category of student. Just if you have some of these qualities that we've mentioned, it could be a good fit for you.
So winding down, let's look at some of the similarities and differences between Crossroads and the regular sixth grade. First of all, same core curriculum and skills are being taught. Second of all levels of math are available to every Crossroads student. Next, the encore classes are exactly the same, and it's important to note that students will be in encore classes with a mix of other students from the red, blue, and yellow teams. There is the same special ed and gifted support for students in Crossroads. They have lockers, lunch is the same. They get to mix up with other students at lunch as well. Now, here are some of the big differences. Number one, everything we do is integrated around the study of culture. Secondly, and this is really important, we emphasize projects, presentations, public speaking, and writing tasks to demonstrate your learning. And we definitely have fewer tests than the regular teams. We have lots of cooperative and group learning projects. Students also set yearly and weekly goals for themselves in Crossroads, and are constantly evaluating their progress on those goals. Students in Crossroads are always assessed on everything they do, but they just don't get an ABC letter grade for anything. And finally, there is a greater need for parent involvement, both through the self-assessment, evaluations, and through hopefully field trips that we'll be able to go on next year, as well as some literature circle help.
Now you've heard a lot of information. You've learned how we learn, what we learn, who might be compatible. What's next? Well, we really encourage you and your parents to talk about Crossroads, decide if it's something that would be a good fit for you or that you're interested in. You would probably want to go to the Crossroads website, check out the stuff there that we have about our program. You'd be able to see some of the projects we do, some of our units of study that might help you gain a better sense of how we organize ourselves here in Crossroads. Once you've done all that, if you think Crossroads is a possibility, it doesn't have to be a definite. Just if you think it's a possibility, I would go ahead and on April 28th, fill out that lottery form, right? You can look at that. It'll be live on the 28th of April, and it's due by Friday, May 7th. They're going to run the lottery here at the middle school on the 12th of May. Once that lottery is run, we'll find out there'll be 40 Crossroads students, 20 girls, 20 boys selected, along with 5 alternates. Those people will be notified that they were selected, and we encourage you to come to our meeting. It'll be the post-lottery meeting. It'll be on Zoom, and once we have those names, we'll send that link out to those families, and it'll be 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 19th. You'll be able to ask questions. Parents will be able to ask questions. We'll give a short introduction and presentation, but we want to make sure that we have time to answer your questions. And then final decisions have to be made by Friday, May 28th. At that point, if they need to hear from you, yes or no. If they haven't heard from you, they may try to contact you. They may move on. So it's really important for you to get your decision in, yes or no, by May 28th.
So that's all we have for you today. We appreciate you listening to our presentation, and we encourage you to go to the Crossroads website. Just do a quick Google search of Crossroads Radnor Middle School, and it'll pop up, and you can learn more about Crossroads, see some examples of self-assessments and collaborative skills rubrics, and some other things, as well as learning more about integrated learning in general and what the philosophy is. We hope you have a great night, a great rest of your school year, and we look forward to seeing all of you, whether you're in Crossroads or not, next year.